Hello. Hello there. Well, trying to keep this under control. I had an airband. I've lost my airband. Damn it. I have to deal with my hair as is. Thozzers. East. Do. Hey Rita. Hey Hafsa. Give everyone a song greeting. Hey Hafsa. Oh, Pooja's that. Boom. Not doing this. There she is. There she is, it's Kate. There she is. Oh. Just gonna keep tucking it by me. Don't know where to go anymore with this. Do we know my hairband's gone? Sad times. I'm literally looking like I can find it any second. I apologise. Right, self-sabotage today. Hey, Hafsa. Sabotage. Self-sabotage, by the way, not sabotaging someone else. Sabotage of yourself. Scratch head. Hope everyone's had a lovely day. I've been told it's nice out. I've been like this all day. Look. Oh, it's nice out. Stay inside. Oh, so I'm watching people outside enjoying the sun. Just watching them. Look, block it back out. Keep the sunlight out there. God bless anybody out in that today. My tan needs to be left. No more tanning for me. I was staying well outside of that. We need it literally 2 minutes. Then I'm going to get... Ooh, crack-a-lacking. Shouldn't play with things, right? I break stuff. Fortunately. You're watching this out in the garden. If you're watching it, it'd be very, very unfortunate. And just so unfair. So unfair. Not long and I can... I'm excited. Right. Right. Time check. Don't think we've got any more joining us right now. Right. Excited for this one. I like a bit of self-sabotage, me. Do we all do it? Ugh. As always, audience participation is welcome. I know we've not encouraged it of late because I've been ranting a fair bit. However, audience participation is allowed. Throw it in. If you agree or disagree with me, I quite like it either way. It's always fun to be disagreed with. I like a good debate. Mastering of that. Hey Mel. Hey Melski. Melski's bang on time. I was like, this is 4 minutes past. I'm in. Right. Coach Helen for UFit Studio. And I'm talking about today something. I've been in Leicester for too long. Something which gets banned around a lot is self-sabotage. And what is self-sabotage? I won't go technical definition. I'll just go with what I've experienced with clients. It's one of those times when something seems to be flying, right? You just appear to be unstoppable, right? Everything's going swimmingly, right? You're losing weight, you're doing really well at the job, can't be stopped, right? Literally just easy as, just everything seems to be flowing as easily as possible. Things are going really well. And suddenly, before you know it, whenever it happens, you're back to square one. It seems like it just kind of, there's a bit of a lack of conscious about it. It just kind of happened. And then it kind of gets used as a terminology. I've self-sabotaged again. Now, here's what I think. Here's what I think is it doesn't exist. Although it has been described as other things, but it doesn't exist, right? Because what's happening is, or what really happens is, or has been described as, someone takes 2, 3 steps forward, and then 5 back. We'll take 1 step forward, then 2 back. And then 2 forward, 3 back. 4 forward, 3 back. What do I do that? See that? That's what's happening, right? So actually, sabotaging as such, yes. However, there's also a pushing almost of a boundary. So it's like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, boom. And like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, boom. So actually, what's really happening is that someone's keeping themselves in a particular position. They're not necessarily consciously trying to sabotage every progress they make. Actually, what's happening is they're not making progress. This is what's ironic about it. This is why I say it doesn't exist. Why though? That's what it is, right? We'll say what, why, how. So why? 2 things. Just checking I can count to 2. It's been a while since I've had to count. 2 things. Why? Okay. Fear, to some degree. Okay, this is. I had a fascinating conversation with a client. I nailed all this where we talked about it. So is that his client had fear that if she succeeded at losing weight, she would lay herself open to criticism of those around her. All right, that was her first fear. Second fear was that she also was scared that if she lost weight, she would be different from her friends and family, mainly her friends because they socialise and drink a lot, and that therefore she would be criticised. And then rather than pushing forward and going like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, she'd actually just start to eat and drink. Why? Because the feeling of fear of being different, she thought, see how I go for that every single time, I'll bring it back in until a penny drops, right? Or it resonates with someone. The thought was, I'll be different. I won't have my friends. I'll be rejected. People won't like me. I won't fit in. I won't be accepted. People won't love me. Those are the thoughts. And what were the emotions? Fear, right? Fear isn't going to be emotions. It's a fear of state. And then her behaviour was to eat and drink and take herself back again. So self-sabotage is, to some degree, doesn't exist. It's actually a fear of change. It's a fear of changing out of the current position someone's in. And actually, I can understand it. Don't get me wrong, I can understand it. It's not. I'm not saying I'm insensitive to it, because God knows I went through a whole range of things to get past it with my friends and family. Absolutely. It is a fear of that. It's a fear of being different now and being rejected that will cause somebody not to be ready to change or to consciously make it different. The other side of it, and it kind of sits with fear, because, and I'm going to, as normal, I'm going to do a separate live on this one as well. What also happens is that the fear element is so uncomfortable. The idea of being different is so uncomfortable that someone will want to stay in comfort. This is one I'm going to do live. I'm going to skip so much at the minute. So they want to stay in comfort. Why? Because being uncomfortable is unpleasant, yes. Actually, you find more value, and I've said this to a couple of my clients, you find more value in what they're doing in the moment, more comfort in what they're doing in the moment, such as eating or drinking, than being uncomfortable and being different than the others around her. Although I'm saying her or us, because I'm using this client as a, and this isn't unusual, by the way. This client is the number of clients I've worked with over the years have all, when it comes down to it, come to the same. That fear of rejection for being different, like saying no. Think about all the times that any of you have said no in a social situation or a community situation or anything, right? How uncomfortable is it? It's really uncomfortable. And yet, what we say is self-sabotage. No, what you did is you're just not ready to be uncomfortable, step into the fear and say no to see what happens. You'd rather stay comfortable and say, keep the peace or whatever. Don't rock the boat, have it all about as well. I didn't want to rock the boat, I wanted to keep the peace. Don't want to offend anyone. So I said yes. So I said yes to myself. So I said yes to the person offering me food and drink. I wanted to stay comfortable. I was scared of them ridiculing me for being different. And therefore, I went with it. And I allowed, and this is what's interesting as well, behaviourally. Often, when this happens, it's just not the odd one thing, is it? That's what's interesting about this behaviour as well. And this is where the sabotage element comes in. When somebody goes so far, so many steps, like 2 steps forwards and 1 or 3 back in some cases, is that because actually it's demoralising, yes, but actually there's some element, and I won't use the language she used. However, she said, shucks, I've fudged it now. And then I thought, what's the point? I'm never going to get it done. And so I chose to fudging eat. There's a lot of fudge involved. She might have had fudge, I didn't ask. However, that's the thing when it comes to when someone says sabotage, it's as if, I don't even understand where that terminology came from, to be honest, self-sabotaging. It's just not ready to step out of that comfort zone and say no. Someone's not ready to change, to be uncomfortable, to do it. Part of it, and I always say about how, right? I always say, what is it? Why do we do it? And how the devil do we get over it? This one's a really tricky one because it's really ingrained in belief systems. And this is why this is quite a hard one to deal with. I've kind of split these two into, they both sound quite blunt. And yeah, I can't really address the end of the way. It's just the fear of it, right? The fear of being different to someone else. I always challenge a client to say, would you rather be different to them and live longer? It sounds harsh. It's actually also true. So if someone is like, if a group of friends are binge eating and drinking, or in a lot of common cases drinking, and a client does not want to be uncomfortable to say no, I want to be like them, want to stay the same as them, I don't want to be rejected. It's like, okay, join them with a liver disease, join them dying early or doing something stupid. Is that what you want? I know, of course, you know, I might have this particular right, kids, right? I know I've got kids. So, well, do you want to be around for the grandkids? Always a harsh thing to say. It's also true. And as a coach, as part of it's I always say this, is to say, here's your behaviours. Are you comfortable with it or not? Because this is an outcome. It's an outcome of some behaviours. And it sounds like I'm being mean. I'm not. I'm being honest. Also, a coach's job to be honest. If you're not ready to change, you want to stay like everybody else, okay, stay unhealthy. Or say no. It's interesting because I said to her, actually, when you're in the moment, what's the worst thing that could happen? She said, well, they'd probably say yes. They'd probably keep pushing it. I said, and what if you kept saying no? What would happen? So she said, well, eventually give up, I guess. It's like, right, so if you kept saying no, what would happen? So, well, they would realise that I don't want to do it. I was like, and then what would happen if you realised that you're okay not drinking with them? They were saying when they do. She's like, I feel good. Because I don't really want to be like that. This is what happens with this. Somebody's trying to move away from something. It's just the fear of being different or rejected or outside of it keeps them down. So part of a resolution sometimes is actually just to ask yourself, what is the worst case scenario of me going against the grain? What's actually the reality of me doing actually what I want to do and saying no in certain circumstances, or taking responsibility for my actions if they're not in line with everybody else's? Want to be burnt alive? Probably not. I think there's some deep, when I really get down to it, sometimes, I did touch on it, sometimes there's a real genuine fear that they'll lose friends, or that we will lose friends if we're different, because we've done certain social things with friends. They've always presumed we do the same thing, and if we start acting differently, then we're different, then we're not friends, because they only like us for how we behave, not who we are. That's a real thing. That happens a lot. The thing is, they only know who you are by your behaviours. Change your behaviours, again, they will accept it. The thing is that unfortunately it is about dealing with that and coming to terms with whether or not you can't change your friends. I will say that it's never a solution to stop hanging out with friends ever. It never is. Yes, you can expand your group of people you hang around with and diversify that. Actually, to actually kick your friends to the curb is that it's not really a solution. It's really understanding that it's just reassessing who you are around them and they accept you. And that takes some work and takes some consistency around your own behaviours. And it takes the practice of saying no and how to say it as well. Dad, I've actually role played with clients how to say no legitimately. I said, right, what's the situation? Who am I? What's the relative? What's the friend? What am I like? Let's do it. Let's practice it. You say it, I say it. What would I say? And then you practice what you say back. Legitimately, I have actually done that quite a few times. Worryingly, I quite like playing. I like a bit of role play. I used to do that at my old job. I used to be the awkward caller. I loved that in an interview. You imagine how much I would go to town with it. I'd have accents and everything. Never get a job interview with me. I already put you through the ringer. However, actually, you know, in all fairness, to see how somebody reacts in a situation and actually deal it with a client with, if they're going to talk to a friend or family, it actually works really well. It's just like a dry run, isn't it? Without the consequences. The thing is there's nothing wrong with actually going down that route and realising that sabotaging is just going those few steps and not willing to just push yourself out of that comfort zone. I really want to say it. Feel the fear and do it anyway. I want a t-shirt with that on. I swear we're on commission. I should find that woman and say, do you realise how much business I've had with your book? As brilliant as it is. I'll just take all the credit for her own work. And the value. Oh, gosh. I am literally just going to do a live on this in 2 weeks' time because it's cropping up so much. It's like me saying to someone, well, he wants to stay in a comfort zone and wants to say, stay where they are and stay without pain or discomfort. You're accepting no pain now, no discomfort, and you're willing, in that action, you're willing to accept long-term pain later. So we repeat it, you're willing to accept no pain now and no discomfort now, and in doing that, you're also willing to accept, well, I didn't say that, I said massive pain and massive discomfort later. Because you're finding value in the decisions you're making now, in staying comfortable, in staying part of the herd or the crowd, whatever you call it. But actually, later on in life, there's going to be a consequence. There's going to be larger amounts of pain. That's not me being doom and gloom and mystic megging. That's just pure fact. Think of every habit that has a negative, healthy consequence. There's always a long-term, more serious consequence that then someone will act on, right? Always, without fail. Without fail. Tell someone they're about to have a heart attack and they will get their ass on a watt bike and cycle for an hour. If it's just about to happen. Like if the doctor says to a client, right, you're literally going to die in 6 weeks unless you start exercising. That client's on that bike and working out faster than they can even get the Lycra on. And yet there might have been a long time before that where they're being told, you've got to do something. You've got to do something. Oh no, it's the padding on my arse. It hurts my bum when I cycle. And yeah, I don't like it. And I get bored and it's boring. So someone's done this. There's quite a harsh example, although it's very true as well. If you're not willing to accept a little bit of discomfort in a small amount on a daily basis or a regular basis, to forego that later, to actually say, I'm willing to get a numb ass, for example, I'm willing to be bored for 40 minutes a day for 4 days of the week, so that later on in life or in X amount of time, I never have the conversation, or I can change that conversation you're having. Well, that's the thing. Part of that is understand, and we'll do a live on that in specifically as well, more depth, just because it happens so often. Honestly. Right. Oh, Heather's here. Hey, Heather, I didn't even notice you arrived, Heather. So sorry. And Nosh. Hi. Let's recap. Okay. So self-sabotage, I just say it's not even real. Self-sabotage isn't a real thing. It's not. I'm sorry. If everybody's good, I have sabotaged myself. No, you just weren't ready to stand outside and be different and change. Sounds harsh, it's true. It's always when someone gets that stage right and they're like, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Now, they're not sabotaging a brilliant result necessarily. All they're doing is actually keeping themselves in the same situation, because this standard isn't going anywhere. It's still saying the same. You're saying taking 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 3, 2, 4, 4. And always the same situation ends up there, just exactly where someone starts. So not sabotaging a great result or a fantastic situation. What they're doing is keeping themselves where they are. It's not real. Sabotage is not real. It's 2 things, I think. 2 things. Fear, because I talked about this with a couple of clients, actually, just not one. Well, there's been a couple of them over the years. This one, most recently, she didn't want to succeed, because then she'd open herself up to be criticised and stand apart from everybody else. And what are you doing? Oh, so you can't eat this, Ken? Oh, why don't you have this? You're allowed to have this. Have this. Why can't you have that? That kind of self-consciousness. She didn't want to stand apart. She didn't want to be different from her friends and family. She wanted to stay the same. It's the thought, right? The thought. I went through the thoughts. Don't want to be different. Don't want to lose my friends. They won't love me anymore if I'm not drunk with them. They won't think I'm funny. Won't think I'm great to be around. Won't see me as a valuable friend. So what's the emotion? Fear. Rejection. So what's the action? Join in, drink, be part of the people around her. Not just drink, get smashed. Boom, boom, boom. Same outcome. And why? Because comfort levels, again, right? Second reason. Reason 1, fear. Reason 2, for comfort. Just want to come out of the comfort zone and be different. Learn how to say no. See more value in what they're doing right now, in that behaviour of drinking, for example, than saying no and dealing with a small amount of consequence, or reducing alcohol and dealing with the consequence in that moment, and later dealing with a greater one or lesser one by making a decision on that at that point in time. So feel the fear and do it anyway. Suck it up. Just say no. Blunt and true. Right. As I said, I role play it out with clients. Learn how to deal with certain situations. How to deal with change. How to accept that change has to happen. We have to accept you're going to be different. Unfortunately, again, accept being a little bit painful, because it's never easy. Doing live on that too next week. I think I called it doing what's easy until it's not. Everyone know that one. I'm doing everything that's easy until it's not. And this is true for this as well. Someone says I'm sabotaging, right? At some point those 2 steps felt easy, and then they hit something like this and it's like, oh, that's hard. Oh, I've self-sabotaged. No. Just not ready yet. Right? Something to consider. It's resolvable. Needs someone like a coach, though, doesn't it? Saying. Right. Lovely peoples. Go out and enjoy that. Oh. Burst into flames. Enjoy whatever you're doing this evening. And I will join you tomorrow. Oh, I'm not sure. I can't remember what I'm doing tomorrow, actually. I should tell you. Ooh. Who's responsible? These are great this week. Who's responsible? That's a fun one. That's a Friday feeling one. So have a lovely evening, guys, and I'll catch you tomorrow.